So I've been waiting for this for such a long time, but Racelab is finally here for ACC. Hello everyone, welcome to another video, and as you've probably gathered from the intro, this one is all about Racelab for Assetto Corsa Competizione. Now, I've been desperate for a good overlay for Assetto Corsa Competizione for such a long time. The UI in the game is fine, but as a content creator, it's a bit of an issue because you can't move things where you want them to be. And there's certain things that I like on the screen at all times. I don't really like having to cycle through the MFD. Now, Racelab has been around for a while on iRacing. I've been using it probably well over a year, and it's absolutely incredible, and it's always evolving with new usable features added all the time. So recently, support for Formula 1 2021 has been added, and very soon you're going to be able to get it for ACC. Now, before anybody calls me some kind of shill, I want to put it out there, I am not affiliated with Racelab in any way, shape or form. I'm just a massive fan of the product. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of Racelab and what you can expect on ACC. This is a beta version, so it's still work in progress. So a couple of things aren't working quite as they should be, but knowing Racelab, they'll have them all fixed before it's released. So let's get on with it. So I'll give you a quick look at the Racelab program now. So this is the main dashboard. You've got this dashboard for each game that's supported. So we'll look at the iRacing one for now. So this drags all of the information from iRacing. So it gives you all my iRating on each of the classes, how many races I've done, wins, my iRating progression, lots and lots of information. And apparently all this or something similar or some statistics are going to be available on Assetto Corsa Competizione at some point. So let's have a look at the overlay first of all. So ACC overlays. So these are all the things on the left hand side that can be displayed on your screen. So we've got the relative box there. Pretty straightforward. You have those on every driving simulator. Then you've got the standings, which you do have on ACC, but you've got to cycle through your MFD. So if you have the relatives and standings on at the same time, well, that's great. You don't need to cycle through anything. Horizontal standings. So something a little bit different, like a scrolling ticker bar that runs along the top of the screen. Now we've got a fuel calculator built into Racelab as well. This is really, really useful. I've not really found a use for it in any of the ACC races that I've done, but if there's a race where you've got a limited capacity in your tank, or if you're doing an endurance race, then this is crucial. Then we've got the flags. Then there's an advanced panel where it gives you different bits of information about the car. You can customize all that. Then we've got the input telemetry, which is your throttle, accelerator, brake, steering, all the rest of it. Head to head, which is like it takes your lap time, and the guy in front or the guy behind tells you where you're quicker, where you're slower, what sector you're slower or quicker in. Just gives you an idea of where you are against the guys in front and behind. Then we've got a flat map, which is essentially a track map but runs horizontally, so you have an idea of where everybody is in relation to you. Then we've got the normal track map. Then we've got data blocks, which can just show little pieces of information depending on where you are, such as track, temperatures, what series you're running. And then we've got a pit box helper, which tells you when your pit limit is on, off, your speed, etc. But all of these can also be customized. So if we go into the relative box, for example, so here you can customize the fonts, and I always like to use the formula and regular. I just think that the text, the font is really nice. We can customize the driver width, driver name width, and also the scale. I found that about 19 is about right. So widgets. So this is where we customize all of the things on the top and bottom of the relatives. So top left, that's where the track temperature is there. That's shown there. Top two, we could put anything we want there, such as car number, and it will show up there. And then top 3, I always like to put my last lap time on here. And that will show up in the top right. Then in the bottom left, I usually have my brake bias there so people can see. In the middle, I normally have a lap counter. There we go. And in the bottom right, I always go for local PC time, just so I can quickly glance at the time. Then the driver information, we can customize whether it's first name, last name, first name, fully customizable, relative distance on or off, car class, drivers behind, so you can increase this to however many you want on your relative. Really handy. And then physical distance, which you actually get that in meters. Lap times, we can have fastest lap times shown on there if you want, and all the rest of it. Pit info, when you last pitted. And then if you wanted to use this as a browser source in OBS, you can copy this and then paste that into a browser source. Same kind of thing with the standings. I always change that to that font. Here we've got multi-class. You can change that and it will separate the classes. We've got a sliding side menu there, which pops that in and out. Lap time vision. So this is where it will give you an idea. I've never ever used this, but it gives you an idea of where people are going to be in relation to your lap. Widget here, we can only select one, which is at the top. I just have that on the session timer. Driver info, same kind of thing that we had on the relative. Last lap times, I always have that one on, so we can have a look, and I turn the fastest lap times off. And then here, pit info, we can see how much time somebody spent in the pits and the stint info there. So that's really handy if you are doing some kind of endurance races. Horizontal standings, exactly the same. You can customize it pretty much the same as the other ones. Fuel calculator, this is dead handy. You can say what you want displayed on there. So I always have last lap on, and I always have last 5 on as well. So I have the last 5, the last lap, minimum, maximum, and average overall. That's what I use. And then refueling, you can set it to auto refuel, and then how much additional fuel you want to put in. Flags, you can customize these however you want. You can type in and put anything you want in there. Really handy. Advanced panel, again, this is quite a cool little addition, this, where you can customize this to your heart's content. You can literally go nuts. And then your input telemetry, again, I would change that. And then we can set that up to however you want it. You can upload your own wheel there if you want, or you can select one that's on here. So Fanatec Formula, for example, Fanatec Porsche, NASCAR, or you can upload, or a ship, or you can upload a picture of your own wheel. All you need to do is make it a PNG. Head-to-head, customize, gone over that. Flat map, track map. Now the track map, you can put the corner names on as well, so show turn names. So this is Barcelona, so we've got Repsol, Europcar, RACC, whatever, I don't know, they'll all change with different tracks. Pitbox helper. So all you need to do is you just click on that and just click open in overlay mode, and that will then pop up on screen. And there you can see it's pop up on the bottom right of my screen there. We'll just close that off and get Racelabs back up. Now, if you don't want to open these individually, you can have what you call layouts, which is what I have here. So this is mine. And on the right hand side, I just have 4 things on there. So if we wanted, we could add any one of these on. So if we wanted a track map, we can add that on there. And then this is my screen. So this is, I've got triple screens here. This is the center part of my screen. So there's the track map. So if I just dragged it up in the top right, then that will be in the top right hand side of my main screen. We'll get rid of that. I'll just show you what that looks like actually in the sim now. That's how I have mine on screen now. So you can see in the bottom right, we've got the relative. I've still got my tire info on there. So that's the ACC UI. I've just moved that across to the left hand side. Got my fuel calculator on to the left-hand side of the dashboard, and in the top left-hand side, I have got my standings. Now, if I wanted to make the standings bigger, so if I click on standings, you can customize this where you want it. If I go to settings, driver info, general driver info, and number of top drivers, so I could change that to 5 if I wish, and you can see real time the standings bar is changing. And then if I wanted to have top 10 on there, and then if I wanted the top 5 in front of me and 5 behind me, then that would populate the standings and it would be all the way down here. So I normally have the top 5 drivers, 3 in front of me and 3 behind me. It keeps it nice and short. So you can see there, I'm Augusto Farfus, and there's 3 drivers in front of me, and then it's showing the top 5. Now, because I can change anything with the Racelab's overlay, it means that I've got more flexibility with where I put my webcam. Now, I've still got to use the ACC UI for the MFD and stuff like that, but you can see I've got the tyres on there on the right-hand side. I've got my MFD just on the left screen. I don't know if you can see it just here. You might be able to just see it changing there in the bottom left. I've got my MFD just on the left-hand side there, so I can just leave that on my pit information. I've got my relative in the bottom right. I've got my standings in the top left. I've got my fuel calculator. That is all I need to race. So there we go. Just a quick overview of Racelabs on ACC. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I've been using this probably for about 12 months, probably closer to 18 months to be honest. And it's so nice to have a familiar overlay available for ACC. I don't need any other information that isn't on screen. I've got my fuel calculator, flags, relative standings, and I've got my MFD just on this screen down here on the left-hand side. So as I also mentioned, this is in the beta stages right now, so it's going to be released hopefully within the next 1 or 2 weeks, so keep an eye out. So Racelabs, there are 2 versions. There's the free version, which gives you the basic functions, such as relatives, standings, and then you've got the pro version, which you do pay for. It's not a lot. Probably about £4, £5 per month. It's not a great deal for what you get, and that enables you to customize everything, have all the additional features which I've just shown you on there. So I'll leave a link down below to the Racelabs Discord. Even though this is in the beta stages, I will be using this from this point forward on ACC. As always, thanks for watching. See you later. Cheers.